Hey everyone, my name is Lisa, and this will be probably my first video that I'll ever make, my first ASMR video. I've been listening to ASMR for quite a while now. I use it to sleep, mostly to fall asleep too, and just to relax during the day if I need it. And I've been wanting to make my own videos for quite a while, but I never really had the tools for it. But I figured I might as well try it out, even if I don't have any proper equipment. I'm just using the voice recorder on my cell phone, so the sound quality probably isn't going to be all that well, but if I like doing this and if people like listening to it, then I might look into buying a microphone and maybe even a good camera. So you might notice I have a slight accent. That's because English is not my native language. It's my second language, and while I do speak a lot of English and think I'm quite decent at it, I do have a slight accent, so I hope that's no problem. And I just wanted to make a kind of rambly sound file for you. Just talk about some things that I like and, ramble away, and hope it's enjoyable to listen to. I think I'd like to talk about probably one of my favorite video games of all time. I wouldn't say I'm a big gamer, but I do game quite a lot, probably a bit too much. And my favorite video game series is Mass Effect by a company named BioWare. And they've made quite a few games, but they have made 3 Mass Effect games. It's a trilogy, and the first game is just called Mass Effect. The second game is called Mass Effect 2, and the third game is called Mass Effect 3. And I don't want to give away many spoilers about the actual story of the games, because maybe you still want to play them if you have to play them, so I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. So in the universe where Mass Effect story plays out, it's a science fiction game, a science fiction world, so it is set in the future. I think it's set around 200 years in the future, 150 years, something like that. And in the future, we humans have mastered space flight, and especially faster than light flight. So we are able to travel far, far away into space. We actually were able to go into space that far that we encountered other races. Because we're not alone in that universe. There are a couple of, well, quite a lot of alien races out there with their own societies and their own rules and their own governments, their own cultures. And the first race that we encounter, and I think this is actually the first other race besides humans that you encounter in the video game, in the first game, are the Turian. And the Turian, they look very alien. Their faces are being described as something kind of between a bird, a dinosaur, and a cat. They look really cute in my opinion, but they have this metal-like carapaces, I think is the word, on their head, and they're covered in plates that are part of their actual body. And their voice sounds really almost like a sort of a buzzing undertone. It's a really pleasant sound. It's kind of like the purring of a cat. I really, really like Turian. And the Turian society is heavily inspired by the Romans, like the ancient Romans. They're a very warlike race. The military is very important there, and that is how your success in society is gauged, by the rank you'll be able to obtain in the military. But they are not savage, not at all, even though their society is based on warfare. They're not savage, they're very civilized. And the Turian make up the majority of the police force of the galaxy. That is an organization called CSAC, and they govern, well, they don't really govern, but they police the galaxy basically. And then another race that is very prominent in Mass Effect are the Asari. And at first glance, the Asari are your typical blue-skinned alien babes, but they are a bit more than meets the eye. They're a race that only has one sex. They all look female, but there's no males in that race at all, in that species. It's just, well, what we perceive as female. And the Asari, well, they have blue skin. Sometimes it's like a really pale light blue, or it can go into quite a dark purple color. And instead of hair, they have head tentacles that are sort of like tendrils that are draped over their scalp and gives them a very nice look. And whereas the Turians are more a military-based society, theirs is very spiritual. Their home planet, Thessia, is littered with temples. They revere their own god, and the name of that goddess actually, the river goddess, it actually has slipped my mind a bit, but they do revere a goddess who taught them how to write, how to do astrology, and just teach them everything basically. And besides being very spiritual, they are very adept fighters, and that is not because of their physical strength, but because they use biotics. And biotics, the best way I would be able to describe it would be like in Star Wars, the Force. It's you can move objects like telekinesis, or you can put all your energy into a shockwave, or a big ball of dark energy that rips apart matter. And as you might imagine, this is a very, very powerful tool to have. And all Asari are born with an affinity for this. And that is because their home planet Thessia is a natural source of Ezo, element 0. And if little babies are in the vicinity of large amounts of Ezo, they develop the ability to use biotics. So that is why their species is very good at that. And the Asari are able to breed with any other species, and that sounds kind of weird, but they actually breed by melting or melding their minds to someone else. So, like their culture, it is also a very spiritual experience. They basically look into each other's eyes and they form an eternal bond. And that's how babies are made in the Mass Effect universe. And the third race that I'm going to talk about today, which is the Solarians. And the Solarians are a race that they kind of look like your typical alien. They've got a concave chest area and really big bug eyes. And their skin can be lots of different colors. It can be green or blue or orange, or even have tinges of black. They basically come in all the colors of the rainbow as I've seen it. And Solarians are very, very smart. They're really smart. They actually think at a faster pace. Their brain just goes really fast and takes in information really fast and processes it. And due to this, they have a very short lifespan. They only live about 30 to 40 human years. And they are also, as I've seen it, kind of amphibian. They actually hatch from eggs. Their females will lay a batch of a clutch of eggs, and they will hatch it. And then a lot of little baby Solarians will be born, and I can just imagine they're like the cutest thing ever. And the Solarians are very technologically advanced, very smart, and they actually are kind of like the spies of the universe, the galaxy. They work as hackers or infiltration guys, and they're a very, very valuable asset to the galaxy. And the most scientists that you will come across in the universe will be Solarian. Oh, and about the lifespan that I mentioned for the Solarians, like I said, that for them it's around 30 to 40 years, human years. But the Asari can live up to 1,000 years. They can become very, very old and very, very wise. And the Turians, they have a lifespan that is roughly about the same as humans, and in the Mass Effect universe they can become around 150 years of age because of technological advances in medicine. So that's it for my ramble about Mass Effect. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made you relaxed, and I hope the quality wasn't too bad. So for now, have a great evening and sleep well.